Hello and welcome to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton, and today on the podcast, I'm joined by my good friend, newsbreaker lovemaker, Deven. Rall.
You're not going to mention my fresh haircut that I got?
I was going to mention
I
it,
look
actually.
pretty good, huh?
You could set your clock to that haircut, man.
What do you mean?
It's just very sort of military, sort of...
Well, that was not what I was hoping to say, so let's get to the news. That wasn't a very positive start, but
Sorry
here we
about
are.
that. Sorry, I thought that was a compliment.
I guess.
You look like an army brat. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? We'll talk about Kanye. We'll talk about J-Lo, because J-Lo and Ben got together at the graduation for Ben's kid.
Yep. Bad timing to break up, huh?
Yeah, when
In
you got
the
all
middle
these
of
events.
graduation season.
We'll talk about Logan Paul, because he had a big interview with Donald Trump, which should be coming out today sometime.
I think this morning.
Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
And finally, we have an update on the Joey Chestnut eating saga, because he's joined a new eating competition, just like you called it, Deven.
And it's going to be huge.
It'll be big.
I wish it was on 4th of July.
I totally my take. But to begin with, Kanye. New details have emerged in the lawsuit that his former assistant, Lauren Pisciotta, that she has against him. So a lot of these are text messages that she's got, that she's attached to the lawsuit. And man, I mean...
Yeah, she, her attorney used a lot of these as like exhibits to show in the lawsuit, like, you know, the kind of harassment she was receiving while she was employed by Yeezy.
Right.
Directly from Kanye. He's kind of pushed back on that as well, because since the lawsuit was filed, he essentially has made claims that she stole his phone and purposely like cleared like his phone so that he wouldn't have any of his side of proof of, as far as like being like, oh, this is actually what was said.
Oh, don't they live on though?
But I think you can delete. So they're claiming that she's clearly using these to show like a very specific narrative, when clearly I think there was, like you're saying, some sort of banter going on, whether that's appropriate or not with your boss.
Right. So some of these text messages, allegedly, Kanye wrote, "One time I took Viagra and effed an A-list celebrity for 3 hours." Another text read, "I'll just be thinking back to the bowling alley, thinking of what the headline could have been. Yay, arrested for effing the S out of his assistant in the bowling alley floor."
3 hours, bro? What are you doing for 3 hours?
Well, I mean, I guess if you have Viagra, I don't know.
3 hours? That's not fun for anyone involved.
No, I mean...
And that's not something to brag about.
No. Do we sound like squares, though, saying 3 hours is too long?
Yeah, probably. We're probably speaking about ourselves.
Right.
And you can't be a bowling alley with bowling shoes on? I have so many questions about these texts.
Totally. Other stuff, Kanye allegedly sent Lauren like X-rated videos he'd made. One of them, he was getting oral sex from a model, and the text with the video said he was asking if he should edit the video because he wanted to make sure his penis looked big enough.
Is there software that does that as far as editing a video?
If there's not, that should be an app on an iPhone.
Dude, we just cook up great ideas on this podcast.
I know. Objects may seem larger than they are. Whatever, you know, like...
And once they're there, it's like, hey, man, you're here.
Yeah,
Too late.
That sounds a bit...
Yeah, that was a lot. That
sounded a bit. But, you know. What else did they say? Oh, yeah, so what Kanye did is he cropped his penis out of the frame because he decided that it didn't look good enough, because he wanted to send it to one of his friends. Have you ever sent your friends?
I can't say I have.
No.
Have you?
Not recently.
Oh, so you have?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
I mean, this whole thing is crazy because, like I said, she does have these text messages as exhibits. Obviously, I guess you could say that text could be edited, conversations can be edited. But I mean, not looking good for Kanye West. You're an employer.
Right. It's a very
can't be-
unprofessional.
Like if Harvey or Charles were sending me texts like this,
Wow.
like it just wouldn't happen.
Harvey's little soldier there.
Okay, I don't want to. Dude, this is off the rails, man. This is an off the rails morning. But It's crazy. It's just like I don't know. She's asking for a ton of money. I don't think she's gonna get all of that.
Well, she won't get it now because I think that basically she was holding these texts as sort of like, I'll just show these texts if you don't give me the money, and now he's
Well, he's claimed that she tried to extort him
Right.
and basically reached out to him and said, if you don't give me $50 million, like I'm gonna make all this public and file a lawsuit.
and there you go.
He called her bluff and she put it all out there.
Also, there's just so much more to this lawsuit. You should look it up. You know.
I feel like you spent a lot of time looking through this lawsuit.
just-
like you
it's just
combed
interesting.
through it like
He-
Sherlock Holmes.
He wanted to have sex with the mother of one of his employees. He kept talking about he wanted to have sex with the mother of her.
Is there a photo of the mother?
No, Devin.
Okay, sorry.
No.
This is honestly super inappropriate to do in a workplace.
It is. And October 1st is when it will all go down. Well, that's
I
what the
feel
court
like-
case is.
I know you'll be tuning in.
Absolutely. This might be the court case of the year. And we've already had a few good
but
ones.
things like this in my days of working at TMZ always get settled out of court. I don't think this is ever going to see the light of day. He's going to pay her like a small sum of money, well, big sum of money. But regardless, I know we were lighthearted about it, but
It's serious.
very serious allegations.
Okay, on to our next story. J-Lo and Ben Affleck had a bit of a rendezvous at Ben and Jennifer Garner's son's graduation ceremony. So they were at the same event, but they didn't even interact. They didn't engage. They were all there to celebrate the kid. Jennifer Garner was there, of course. All the kids were there that they all share and stuff. And, J-Lo's twins that she has with Mark Anthony, I think, is it?
I believe so.
Were there.
Yeah. It's just another not good sign that these two. I mean, we know they're divorcing, but it's just like then these, the general public keeps getting these other signs where the house was listed or they're trying to sell the house. That's a red flag. They're out at the, public events. They're not interacting. Another red flag.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's only just a matter of time, right?
Of course. There also was an after party at Ben's Brentwood rental. So the place that he had to rent when he got kicked out of that.
I mean, it's a pretty nice place.
It's just, and Jennifer Garner was there again. Why do you Americans have so many graduation ceremonies?
I was gonna say, like what I said earlier, like this is the absolute worst time of year to be in a breakup because it's like you go to the ceremony. You go out to dinner, presumably after. You meet at a house. You take photos.
Right.
Like, there's just so many family events that you have to, now are forced to interact with.
But the kid's 12. Why is a 12-year-old having graduating some...
That's middle school, bro. That's huge.
You Americans graduate elementary school.
Do you guys not like celebrating? Australians, all they do, you guys party.
I don't know, but while
it's just an excuse to party.
Look, personally, I didn't go to any graduation.
Well, because you didn't graduate from anywhere.
Well, I'm actually a master's of media, if you must know.
Are you?
Yes.
Where do you hang up your degree in your car? You don't have an office.
Yeah. But I mean, graduation's just no one cares in Australia. And he has
Really?
graduations for everything.
Yeah.
I've got a preschool graduation coming up for my daughter.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
Is she wearing a cap and gown?
Of course.
Oh
bro.
my God. What did she do?
What did this 12-year-old Samuel do rather than
graduate middle school?
Paper mache, pigs and
I'm trying to think of. No, I think what do you do in middle school? Chemistry? I think you start doing chemistry and algebra.
The bare minimum.
What did Peach do?
The bare minimum as well.
She threw paint on a blank piece of paper? And you're like, oh, this is an NFT. I'm going to make money off this.
I love NFTs. Shout out NFTs. All right, let's get on with our next story. Logan Paul just interviewed Donald Trump, which is pretty interesting because Logan Paul just is influencer, does all this.
He does a
wild
lot.
stuff.
I mean, WWE star. Yeah, his podcast is pretty big.
Well, Donald Trump reached out to him and said, "Could I be on it?" Which is,
that's kind of a flex.
It's an
for Logan, I think.
Yeah, Donald Trump wants the younger voters, so maybe they listen to Logan Paul. Not sure.
But you see, I know, you know who the Nelk Boys are? They're another podcast. Yeah. They had Trump on. I feel like he kind of leans into this kind of stuff.
He'll be on Joe Rogan next.
Maybe here.
He'll be on the TMZ pod.
Would you have him?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, yes.
Are you kidding me? But no, he does do podcasts, which is kind of interesting just because you don't see presidential candidates. I guess you maybe candidates, but not actual presidents that are sitting down with influencer types.
Well, now you do because that's how people get their news.
and they're trying to, like you said, influence the younger voters.
Right. Jake, no, not sorry, Jake. What's his name? Logan. Logan also wants to interview Biden. I don't know. I don't think
There's no way.
Biden would do it.
I just don't see Biden as being like a podcast guy.
He would if it could get him votes. I just don't think I think Logan's Team Trump as well. So I think.
Well, so I've like kind of followed both of them. Jake is very openly Team Trump. Logan actually has always been kind of outspoken about how he doesn't like. He's never been outspokenly like defending Trump. He's kind of played like a middle ground.
Oh, has he?
So to speak, at least publicly. I don't know what he does in his private life. And I think this is a move also on Logan to be like, he had Trump on and he still wants this public image of like, I'm kind of in the middle, which is why he then wanted it out there as well that like, oh, I want Joe Biden on as well. Even though I think he knows Joe's never going to do his podcast. I think that's him still trying to be like, oh, see, I'm in the middle ground.
Yeah.
I'm not just supporting Trump. I would have Biden on as well.
I think you're probably right. But doing podcasts with presidents like that is what.
That's a dream.
That's the dream. And also, but that's just like what we're at right now with life and how people absorb and get media and information.
Totally.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Biden does it.
I just like, Biden's not a podcast guy, man.
You get to talk for an hour straight.
You're a podcaster. Like, you have to be like quick on your feet. You know, you don't really, you're not just like pitch questions or reading like a,
reading a script or teleprompter.
Yeah, you're not reading a teleprompter, which usually doesn't go well for him anyways.
True.
So I just think that his people wouldn't want to put him in that kind of situation, you know, to look weird or dumb.
Yeah, and if he made some sort of mistake, that'd go viral.
Exactly. And you're not in control because the podcasters are like, they're the ones who are editing it and putting content out. So it's just like, I just don't see him doing it.
And Trump is just about more. Just more of me.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And he was down to, you know, go on there. And I'm interested to see what they talk about, honestly.
Okay, on to our final story, our almost news story. You called it, Deven.
Netflix listens to the TMZ pod. Who knew?
I mean, I had an inkling, to be honest, that Netflix listens
really?
to the pod.
Yeah, I kind of did too. That's why I said we should have cut it yesterday.
I know.
It's $1 million idea.
Because Deven was saying about how this Joey Chestnut, he should eat off. No, not eat
don't
off.
Say eat off.
He should have an eat off.
Thank you.
With Kobayashi. And Netflix listened, and they're doing it. So Joey's going to be facing Kobayashi at Labor Day.
Yep, in September, I believe. Is that Labor Day? I always get my holidays mixed up.
Yeah, it's Labor Day. So they're going to be mono in mono. They were like the two goats of their league. Kobayashi, he retired recently.
Yeah, he said that essentially it was too hard on his body, like it was dangerous. But then obviously money talks, man.
Yes.
And it was interesting because growing up, like Kobayashi was the GOAT. And it was amazing because he was like a very small guy. So the illusion of this small dude putting down 60 hot dogs was awesome.
Like, where do they go?
Exactly. And it's like almost cartoonish. And then Joey, you know, he's a bigger guy, so it's not, you don't get the whole like, I don't know, it's just not as cool of a look, I guess, going down.
Yeah.
But towards the end, Kobayashi, like when he broke off from the World Eating Championships, him and Chestnut were like at the peaks of their powers, battling it out. Chestnut was getting the better of him the last few times. So I'm interested to see, you know, some years off, can he return? Is he rusty? Who knows?
I just wish there was on July 4th versus Nathan's. Like it was a
I know.
TV schedule.
I know. And Nathan's statement makes me think that this was actually in the works way before it actually got announced, and then this happened, and they're like, we gotta announce this to pounce on all the attention.
News,
because when Nathan said in their statement that when they said that he was banned from 4th of July, they said that they were cool with him doing a competing eating competition. God, I can't even talk this morning. I've had a lot of coffee, man. Sorry. And I'm really excited about this story. But for Labor Day, basically they said they okayed him to do an event for Labor Day. And now it turns out this is probably the event.
Right.
They okayed.
Right.
So this was in the works.
I don't know if it will turn up on July 4th then. Man, Netflix also is just killing it with these live sports, if you can call this a sport.
What's their new venture?
It's then like because they've had these Tom Brady roasts as well.
Amazing.
Stand-up comedy live. Boxing, they were going to have Jake Paul and Mike
Still
Tyson.
going to.
Rescheduled. They're gonna have NFL games
I know.
on Christmas Day.
It's the future, because if you think about it, like, do you know a single person who doesn't have Netflix on their TV, even if they're not paying for their account? Like, my mom currently pays for mine.
Oh, is that right?
I hope my subscription doesn't get canceled. But
Shout
yeah,
out to Yana Rall.
yeah,
Big
great,
listener, big
great
listener.
lady. Thank you for Netflix. But it's just like, that's how you get the most exposure. Why would you not want to have your event on Netflix?
It's crazy. And now this hot dog thing is just like such big news, even though it's so silly,
I
that
love
everyone
it.
you just hears, okay, Netflix Live, Netflix Live.
I know pretty soon. I feel like that everything's gonna be on Netflix. Plus, they have all the money in the world to throw at these people for
Right.
these events.
Right.
And us as consumers, yeah, we pay our subscription, but it's like that money's like, I don't even think about it.
Right.
Well,
Man,
technically, I don't, because my mom's paying it. But
you and I should do an eat off on July 4th, maybe.
what do you
Would
think?
you be down?
What are you? And don't bring in some like weird Australian foods.
No, I mean, like, we can do like a chicken wing thing, or we could do like mozzarella stick eat off.
I mean, I'm down.
Would you want to do it?
I mean, can you eat like that? I'm not a big
Probably
eater.
not. But if we just sat here at the podcast desk on July 4th, actually, we got a holiday then. People really want us in here to work harder for the July. Yeah, actually, we're off
Actually,
that day.
yeah. Let's rethink
We'll
this.
rethink that. Maybe July 5th eat off.
Yeah, is that a work day?
I mean, if it is, then we'll
If not,
reschedule again.
July 8th, I think, which
Yeah.
is the Monday after.
Right. Okay.
Sounds
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Deven,
Yeah, it was fun.
and we'll see you guys here tomorrow. Goodbye.